Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
8 strikeouts tonight against 2 walks. That's not good from an offensive standpoint. And when you try to measure or gauge competitive at bats, I don't think we have to do better. But it was a win. I hate to sit up here and doom and gloom and feel like we lost because we didn't.
I just want to thank Mr. Blanks and Mr. Dimitrov and Coach Quinn and the Falcons organization for just having enough faith in me and choosing me at number 8. And I plan to come in and do my best and help out the team in the best way that I can.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia here on a very busy Thursday afternoon. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes, the State Man Graham Pope, and your phone calls coming up in just a little bit. 800-956-7266 is the number. Big story nationally. Everett Golson, the former Myrtle Beach star, former Shrine Bowler, is leaving Notre Dame to play his final season of football elsewhere. He made the release this afternoon to a couple of the national sports networks, and of course, the word traveled like fire all across the country because Everett Golson is a very big name, and it's not often you leave as a quarterback from Notre Dame on your own volition with eligibility remaining. I guess they've had some quarterbacks transfer out, but that is one of the prime positions in all of college sports. It's a position that is coveted by quarterbacks all across the country. You just don't walk away. However, I don't know that the relationship between Golson and his coach was all that good, and he was beat out in spring by the young quarterback Zaire, who came on the end of last year. So they're moving in a direction, so is he. From what we have gathered, a direction that he won't be moving to is South Carolina. A lot of speculation, of course, immediately that the Gamecocks would go hard after him and take him. That's not the information that we have gotten from a couple of different sources. Right now, we hear Florida State is a pretty strong possibility for him at this particular time. One of our good contacts in the Myrtle Beach area who knows Golson and knows folks around him as well, Alan Smothers, also shared with us that he's hearing Texas and LSU as a couple of possibilities. So it still could be a little while before this is worked out, guys. But I'm told that Everett Golson is the type of kid, he doesn't make a decision like this without knowing what his next step is going to be.
Mm-hmm. The thing that gets me is, and I don't know whether this is true or not, I've been reading that if he chooses an SEC school,
there is a clause.
Notre Dame has to waiver. Wouldn't
right.
you think if
Mike Slive has to approve it with the SEC?
Wouldn't you think he would choose an ACC school?
Right.
Since the matter he may be playing.
The bottom line is people in this state, I think South Carolina fans are looking to see if he'll go there. And there's no indication that South Carolina is a major player for Everett Golson right now from anybody, South Carolina or his camp.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it. Take your phone calls and catch you up on other things in a moment. Okay, we're back on Sports Talk, 800-956-7266. Our email talkback at sportstalksc.com, on Twitter at sportstalksc. The website is sportstalksc.com, and on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio. Quick notes, get to your phone calls. Love to get your thoughts about Everett Golson leaving Notre Dame and what is ahead for him. You know, he's a guy with a world of talent. He is being singed nationally as people talk about his transfer by the fact that he had turnover issues at Notre Dame this past year, accounted for 22 personally.
Led the country.
But his numbers, generally speaking, at Notre Dame, pretty good. About 6,000 passing yards, about a 2-to-1 ratio, touchdowns to interceptions. He's a very good athlete, pretty mobile, can throw on the run, throws a nice ball, and, you know, had that could have had some great things happen for himself and Notre Dame this past season had that illegal pick play not been called against Notre Dame down there at Florida State this past season. But anyway, that's water under the bridge there, and he is going to move on, and we'll see where he ends up. But, again, our information this afternoon is that Florida State looks pretty good, maybe Texas, maybe LSU, but not so much South Carolina, and certainly not Clemson. Remember, he committed to North Carolina out of high school. That was his first That was his first commitment. And about the time that the first scandal at North Carolina emerged with the agents and all that kind of stuff, he took a visit to Notre Dame, and then that changed everything. He ended up committing to Notre Dame. South Carolina didn't really recruit him very much out of high school. Clemson came a little bit later. I remember talking to him at the Shrine Bowl, and Clemson was trying to come on there a little bit late, but it was too late. And he went on to go to Notre Dame, as we all know. There is a rule. You talk about the SEC, and some folks have been throwing out South Carolina and Georgia out there. And, of course, the Gamecocks right now have their quarterback in Connor Mitch. Georgia's quarterback situation might be a little more fluid. And though South Carolina's is still fluid because they're not going to name an official starter until the fall, and they want to see what Lorenzo Nunez can do as a freshman when he comes in. I lost my train of thought there. There's that there's a rule. There's an SEC rule that for a transfer, if you've had prior academic issues at the school you are leaving, or discipline, and he did at Notre Dame, then you have to get a waiver from the SEC, from the commissioner, and that has to come via the school you are leaving. So Notre Dame would have to sign off on that, give you that waiver. Now, you know, why wouldn't they do that? You know, why would they block him from wanting to go to an SEC school?
And that's a relatively new clause in the transfer rule too. That was adopted in May of last year. It was just a year old.
Yeah.
And I think the SEC wanted to make sure they weren't taking troubled people and it was turning into, you know, bad apples and reclamation projects. And that's why they did it. And maybe that way, I following it on Twitter, it's not an easy waiver to get, according to some of the National College Football guys. I'm not familiar with it, but so that might be a factor for Florida or Georgia if Georgia's interested. But I haven't seen anything. This has been rumored for a while. Yeah. Back in December, Steve Spurrier was asked, "Would you be interested in taking a graduate quarterback?" And he said, "No, we're always looking, but we're not actively looking for somebody." Right. He said they're always recruiting. They're not actively looking for anybody or mid-year quarterbacks. He said, and then he would talk about the guys he had. Well, during the spring, he was look, we're not looking for anybody. We like Connor Mitch. We got Nunez coming in here. He doesn't sound like a guy that is going to go falling over himself looking for Everett Golson, and they weren't falling all over themselves to get Everett Golson the first time.
Well, let me say this. I think considering South Carolina's situation, if Everett Golson wanted to take a look and wanted to come, you've got room, first of all, scholarship-wise, because of all the players that have left. South Carolina has room. Number two, I think you'd be foolish not to look. Looking at South Carolina's quarterback situation, you're totally inexperienced. Your quarterback only have spring practice experience. At least with Everett Golson. Here's a guy that has played in a national championship game, has played under the brightest spotlight in all of college football. I think you'd be foolish not to reach out to him and not to let him tell you no, let him tell you I'm not interested, and then Then
the guy that led the country in turnovers last year, going into a new offense that Steve Spurrier runs,
Right,
demanding
yeah.
on
he
his
also
quarterbacks.
threw 40 touchdown passes in his career. He's thrown 40 more touchdown
last
passes
year.
than
Why is he
anybody
transferring?
among the
Why is he
South Carolina-
transferring? Because he lost his job.
Well,
Yeah.
He lost
Right.
his job.
There's a
He
lot
wasn't
of
good enough to
quality
keep his job.
players that transfer for a
But here's
variety
my
of
thing,
reasons.
and this isn't
no,
to knock
I
him,
wouldn't
but
take it.
this whole notion that South Carolina, he would automatically be better than anything they have.
I'm not saying that, but
you know,
why not take
it's
a
unfair.
look?
Connor Mitch.
No.
Why not take
No,
a look?
I
And
Because
wouldn't.
if you're Everett
I
Golson,
wouldn't.
he's going to play. He wants to go somewhere
Right.
where they're.
He's
and
got
I
to beat
think-
out wherever he goes.
Well, I
He's gotta
think,
beat somebody
but I think
out.
wherever he goes, I think
If he
he's gonna-
goes to Florida, he's got to beat out a guy that beat Clemson in his start down there when Winston was suspended.
Florida State.
What'd I
Florida
say?
State. You
What'd I
said
say?
Florida.
I'm sorry, Florida State. He goes down to
Okay.
Florida State. He's got to beat out
didn't
McGuire.
beat Clemson by himself.
Well, but the McGuire that has gone through spring practice down there, wherever he goes, he's going to find a situation where a quarterback or two quarterbacks are already in place, have gone through spring practice, know the system, and he's going to be playing from behind. I'm just saying, if you're South Carolina and you've got your quarterback situation and Georgia's quarterback situation too, they're both pretty dire in that nobody has any experience.
But
Well,
is
here's the
Everett
key.
Golson a Steve Spurrier? Is he
No.
going to fit in that
No.
offense?
No.
Because he's a guy that can step in and run Steve Spurrier's offense
He
Here's
can
my
throw
problem.
to the wrong team.
On the target.
Here's my problem. Steve Spurrier has played the position. Steve Spurrier is also intimately involved with people who play the position he played. In other words, he likes to nurture his quarterbacks. He's not looking for a quick fix. Plus, here's the other deal. You have worked these quarterbacks and worked them. And if Everett Golson says, I'm interested, and you publicly or someone hears on the grapevine you're courting him, you're also telling your quarterbacks that you nurtured and built and have confidence in that you don't.
Spurrier may only, Spurrier's at the end of the road. He wants to win a championship and get out of here. And you
don't do it with a quick fix quarterback. You don't.
But I mean,
if he's
really
better than what you've got in the stable right now,
but you don't know that, and I don't think that Steve Spurrier necessarily believes that.
He's thrown for 6,000.
Braxton Miller is probably going to be on the market in another couple of weeks too, whenever the semester ends up there, and we can go through this whole rigmarole again. I know it's a little closer to home because Golson is a South Carolina product, from Myrtle Beach, but I just, there has never been a sense out of the USC.
I know, I'm not
Steve
saying,
Spurrier does not think that Connor Mitch is as bad as all the Gamecock fans think Connor Mitch is.
I'm not saying you sell your soul. I'm not saying you make any promises. I'm not saying you're going to take him, he's going to be your automatic starter. I'm just saying, if I'm South Carolina and I'm looking at my quarterback situation right now, and I'm
satisfied with
Everett.
I'm
not.
It.
See,
well,
I'm not.
I mean, if Everett Golson calls, if Everett Golson calls them up and says, "I want to come closer to home, will you make room for me?" Sure, we got Connor Mitch. You're going to compete with him. That's fine, Coach.
Phone calls can go both ways.
Then you take it. But
what would
they don't feel like they need him.
What would it hurt for G.A. Mangus to pick up the phone and say, "Hey, Everett, hey man, you'd be interested in taking a look down here? We've got a situation where you may or may not be able to come in and win the job, but we'll be happy to take a look at you and give you a chance in the fall." What would that hurt?
But if you have a plan and they feel good about,
there's already been apparently on Twitter an outpouring of interest from players, right?
Well,
Gamecock
I heard
players.
this outpouring, and then the two players that I was told did it were Bryson Allen Williams, who plays defense, and Sean Carson, who is from the PD area and would be very familiar with Everett Golson. He probably knows him on some level, I would go venture to say, but they have since deleted those tweets.
Here's a question.
Is there a place where deleted tweets go?
Yeah, you go to it, you can find it.
They're still there.
But here's the point. Let's think from a basic standpoint. First of all, when you look at Steve Spurrier, he is a stickler for mechanics. Everett Golson, in my opinion, holds the ball strange. He likes to hold it low. Let me continue. He throws off his back foot.
You guys overanalyze this too much.
No, he throws off his back foot, which
he led the country in turnovers last year. How is that going to go with Steve Spurrier? He led the country in turnovers last year. Is that a good fit for a Steve Spurrier offense?
Turnovers. That's not something that
in a year
be fixed.
In 3 weeks?
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, we got Ellis Johnson coming up here at the bottom of the hour, but let's jump to your phone calls as we go to Mike in Columbia, listening to us on the point in Columbia. Hey, Mike, welcome into Sports Talk.
Hey, guys. Yeah, this whole thing at Everett Golson, Phil, I kind of agree with you. I think the coaches should call the guy. Don't promise anything, but, hey, maybe he's got a chance to start here because South Carolina has no experience. Playing in the SEC is a tough league. And if a quarterback goes down, what do you have behind him? Absolutely nothing, no experience behind it. So, I'm not saying it should offer the guy the job, but I would definitely look into it. And I think that his mechanics and stuff can be improved. And, this is just my opinion. I have no idea. I'm not associated with the Notre Dame program, but I believe he lost his job simply because he and Brian Kelly just did not have a good relationship. And if you don't have a good relationship with your coach, Brian Kelly kind of reminds me of a Chuck Noll type coach that really doesn't give a lot of credit to his quarterbacks. Just kind of an all business approach type coach and not really close to his players. I think that's why the guy transferred and left, or that's probably why he went downhill. I think he's a good athlete, and South Carolina should, really look there. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the whole Florida State thing. I'm not sure if he could start there. I'm not sure LSU's quarterback situation. But
my question is
if I was him, I would call.
My question is this: if he had a bad relationship with his coach, why did he go through all the academic rigors to get back into Notre Dame?
Well, his dream was to graduate from Notre Dame,
and he's going to.
His dream was to graduate. He went to Notre Dame to graduate,
and he might be better.
Walk away from that.
He might be better than Connor Mitch, but you don't know how good or bad Connor Mitch is going to be. And let's say he goes in there and South Carolina has an average season. They win 6 games with Everett Golson. Then you're going to be right back where you were this year. Wouldn't you rather?
Well, then you have Brandon McElwain coming.
Oh, another true freshman. It's like you're always going for the flavor. You start chasing the over and over and over. Don't usually do well. And Steve Spurrier, it's not his MO to chase the flavor of the month.
Deshaun Watson was a tasty flavor.
But
still is.
That is an outlier. How many freshmen in the history of college football have been Deshaun Watson?
Here's the interesting thing.
Brandon McElwain might be. Well, they're kind of
now everybody's the next Deshaun Watson. Everybody's the next Jordan. I'm still waiting on that one too.
I knew this was going to start, but see, people have to understand that with their tremendous offensive line, Russell Wilson is an exceptional case. First of all, he's an intelligent guy, quick study or whatever. Not everybody thinks they can be a graduate quarterback and just walk into anybody's system and play. Ain't going to happen. Russell Wilson did it, but that was Russell Wilson. I don't think many quarterbacks can do that. He walked into a situation that they had a tremendous running game, an offensive line that was almost impenetrable, and he can run and throw. That was a special situation. I don't think, for the most part, that a graduate quarterback can run in and grab a new system within a
did he make it into the spring? That's the other thing about it too. People said the fundamentals can be improved.
I think he got into spring.
You go in there in August. You have 3 weeks of preseason camp. Learn the offense, learn the receivers, and go out there. And then you jump into a tough slate.
He's a smart guy. Listen. He's not interested in South Carolina, though. That's the thing. I'm talking more from a speculatory standpoint. If I were South Carolina, I might try to get him interested. Back in a moment. back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network. Very busy night. We'll do some baseball in the next hour. Let you hear from Chad Holbrook and Jack Leggett after their wins last night. They get a little bit of a reprieve from the hostilities of the fan bases because they got some wins. We'll take more of your phone calls on Everett Golson. Anything else you want to talk about as well? We've got recruiting coming up. Good news for USC regarding Dante Sawyer. As he says, he's in. He's graduating. He's ready to go join the Gamecocks. All that coming up and more. Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and the pro Tom Hayes all with you as we welcome into Sports Talk. Good friend of Sports Talk. We want to see back on the coaching sidelines sometime soon. Ellis Johnson joining us right now, still in Auburn, Alabama, but will be returning to his home state of South Carolina later this summer. Coach, how you doing?
Doing good, Teddy.
No, this is Corn. This isn't Teddy.
I'm sorry. I said, Phil. I just saw you guys on the golf course that day, and I was thinking about something and it popped out of my mouth. I didn't even realize it.
I would say I've been called worse, but probably never have been called worse. So, anyway, good to have you with us, Ellis. And what have you been doing since leaving Auburn? And I know you went through the job searching process and all of that. What's been going on with you since then? I want to catch up, let the folks kind of catch up with you, then we'll go from there.
Really, that's about it on a professional, vocational level, Teddy. Phil, that's about it. We, it happened first of December. I had knee surgery, just a little cartilage surgery, and so I was kind of stuck here for about a month or two. Visited some places over spring and planned to visit some pro mini camps. And try to stay in the network, if you will. Coaching changes are usually kind of a cycle. They usually happen, obviously, in December, January, and not much going on other times of the year. So there weren't a whole lot you could do other than maybe go visit some guys and share some ideas, talk ball, and just keep networking. It was turnovers in some areas, but nothing came about. It was something I really felt like was a good opportunity for me. We're going to stay here to get the kids through school and then move back to Columbia because that's eventually where we'll retire. And I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'll get something next year and I'd like to coach at least 5 more years maybe and just see how it goes next December or January.
Do you want to stay on the college side of things or would you go to the NFL?
Either one. Either one would be. I would think I'd be a little curious and would love to have an experience in the NFL before I quit coaching. A lot of it's going to depend upon location because my kids have been in 5 schools in 4 years, and it's just enough moving. They're getting to an age, moving into high school and junior high, not move them anymore. So I think location would probably have a big bearing on it, but it would not matter to me on either level.
This time around, did you have any kind of extensive conversations with Steve Spurrier?
No. I think I maybe spoke to Coach once or twice, very brief conversations. And at the times I spoke to him, he wasn't doing his staff. He was waiting until a later date and didn't know what he was going to do. And that was the extent of the conversation. At that point, I'd sort of determined I was going to move the family to Columbia. And so obviously I would have been interested in that, but it never got to that point.
What do you think of the hire of John Hoke?
Well, I don't know John, but I was at Alabama when John was at Florida, and I was at Clemson, and coached against them. And I thought he did an outstanding job when he was down there. He spent 6 years with Steve, and it may be as long as anybody's worked for him in that position. But I thought he did a super job, and he got some NFL background now. That always helps, and certainly I know he'll bring some things to the table that can make them a better football team.
But did you think, you had such a good experience with Spurrier, at least on the field, the success was standing, your defenses were excellent during your time at South Carolina, where you maybe a little didn't get the phone and call you and say, hey, Ellis, I may be looking, you're available. Would you like to come back?
Not really. I mean, there are a lot of factors, and you'd have to ask Steve. I don't know what he was thinking about his staff formulations, and there's a lot of rumor out there. I think that, and sometimes it was more conjecture than it was truth. But one time there were going to be tons of staff changes. One time there weren't going to be any staff changes. But a coach has to make decisions based upon a lot of things. I guess it could be position, what position you want them to coach. Coming from pros, they bring something to the table, had an experience working with him before. There could have been a lot of issues involved in it, so I never really thought that much about it. Obviously, I had one eye on it because, again, we were going to locate the family there, so that would have been an easier move for us. But other things could have gotten into it. I might have taken a job somewhere else if they'd come along.
So with you moving back to Columbia and reestablishing your roots there, planting your family there, one thing that is becoming vogue in college coaching are these quality control coaches. And, he's done a little bit of that. He may do more. Is that anything that would interest you at South Carolina?
Well, I don't know. I've already pulling a state pension in South Carolina, and there's no advantage to me to work at any state school, high school, or state university unless it was something where I would freeze the retirement pension and then, start it back up again later. But there are a lot of those. Another thing, a lot of people are hiring people outside to break their schedule, and there's a lot of that going on. I don't think people are aware of. People break the defensive film down, the offensive film down, have it waiting for the staff when they come in on that Sunday to begin on that opponent. So you're right. There are a lot of jobs now that are not on the field coaching jobs that are certainly important and critical to the program's success. I don't enjoy that right now. I wouldn't rule it out. I don't know if I would enjoy that right now. I probably will try to wait this fall out and visit some places and stay in touch with some people, both pro and college. And the other thing, if it goes another year or so and I don't feel like I've got an opportunity on this level that is worth pursuing, I'd love to coach in one of the private universities or colleges there in the area, because that way I could still draw a state pension and would not have to freeze it. If you work for a state supported institution, they make you freeze your pension. So it wouldn't be a great advantage to me in doing that, but you could do it.
Sure.
Well, how much has the coaching profession in college especially changed, Ellis, as far as the way you can hit a guy? You don't know unnecessary roughness penalty, the spread offenses. Has coaching changed much at the college level for you?
The basic elements of coaching a young man, in my opinion, have not. The discipline, the communication, the encouragement, motivation, all those things I think are timeless. I think they'll always be critical to success of being able to coach young people. The game has changed quite a bit. And it's been 40 years since I started coaching. 6 of those started out in high school. So 34 years in college coaching. The game has become more spread out, faster game, if you will. I don't think it's as some of the collisions are violent, but I don't think it's quite as physical a game as it was. It used to be constantly banging and balls run inside the box more. So the X's and O's of it has really evolved quite a bit. And the greatest change that's made in my area as coaching defense is most of the coaches who like that philosophy now, your practices have to follow that philosophy. And as a result, I think you're seeing the scores are going up not only because the offenses are more potent and maybe a little more high risk, high reward, but the methods of practice now are catering to that style of football. So your defenses now, I think, are becoming less physical. They're not able to tackle as well. Some of the that's the philosophy of the program.
And I know that gets under the skin of old-time hardcore defensive coordinators such as yourself.
Well, it's not a matter of that. That's not the point. The point I'm trying to say is that people don't understand what the cause and effect is. The other thing, if you go 3 and out with a normal offensive approach, you burn about 3 minutes off your wristwatch. If you go 3 and out in a hurry-up offense, you burn about 45 seconds off your wristwatch. And you've got no time for adjustment on the bench. You've got no time for game control thoughts. Do we punt? Do we? Everything is more helter-skelter.
All right, hang on, Ellis. We got to hit a quick break, and we'll come right back to you. And hopefully you'll remember who you're talking to when we come back after the break. Ellis Johnson with us here on Sports Talk. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. It's Sports Talk on a Thursday night. We're visiting with Ellis Johnson, former USC, Clemson defensive coordinator, former head coach at the Citadel and Southern Miss, and other stops around college football. So you were lamenting the plight that many defensive coordinators face when their offense is run by a maniac who likes to go lightning fast speed. But that is where college football is headed. There's no sign that the college football is going to get away from the spread and the fast-paced offense, and defenses are just going to have to live with it.
That's exactly right. I mean, you're making my point. I'm not lamenting the fact. I'm just asking how football has changed, and that's how it's changed. And it's it's a reflection of our culture and everything else. You don't see boxing matches like you saw 40 years ago either. It's just different. And I think that the other thing, there's so many people in these big stadiums now, and there's also so much money coming from TV. You're reaching a fan base that really doesn't know a lot about football. They're not looking for football. They're looking for entertainment. Mm-hmm. And you're exactly right. I mean, there's no sign of it turning around going the other direction. If anything, it'll continue to get more spread out and so forth, sort of the trend it's going now. My only point was it's changed. And I think sometimes that those who think something's wrong with the game or think something's wrong with the game being played that way, they really don't understand what creates it and what all the factors are, because there's more than just playing the game. It's how you practice too, and it's going to have to be affected by that philosophy.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, so many kids today are playing 7 on 7 football leagues, and that's spreading like wildfire. And then I've heard today about AAU getting involved in football and making it summertime participation for these guys, and I'm sure it'll be kind of a throw and catch sort of thing. The players are becoming more of just wanting to throw and catch the ball, and the blocking and the tackling side of it is sort of an afterthought with many of these guys when they think about playing football.
No doubt about it. And I think the thing, you can get better at throwing, catching, and running routes on the air. And as you say, these summer camps are going give them a lot of work. They also have their past competitions between high schools, et cetera. And it's just kids are so much more capable of throwing and catching and running routes when they reach the college level. I mean, it's a whole different level than it was 40 years ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Some of them had to be able to talk. Their catches made 5 or 6 times in a game. Nowadays, you see every 5 or 6 weeks, and you're just like, wow. But it's practice, it's repetition, and you're exactly right. I mean, that's what's guiding this thing. I was talking to one of the top NFL guys, as that director of pro personnel at one of the clubs. He was over there for Carolina's Pro Day. Mm-hmm. He said one of the most difficult things they're doing right now in evaluating draft talent is they've got quarterbacks now that are not taking snaps under the center.
Yeah.
And there's in a per game, they're trying it, and there's some teams doing it, and it may change one day. I don't know. It depends on what the fans want. But right now, you can't play pro football at a top level unless you can get under the center and read blitzes and coverages and things happening when you drop back in your routine. And they have to completely start over, these guys. There's no question. They see the skill set, they see all the talent, see all the ability, but it's like a learning process, and they really struggle in evaluating them.
Yeah, but to the commoner like me, and maybe that's about like 75,000 of the 80,000 sitting in the stands. What's so hard about getting under center, putting your hands under the center's butt, and taking the football?
Just like anything else, it takes repetition to do it smoothly and effectively and so forth. And it's not just taking a snap. When you stand in a shotgun, when the ball comes back, you kind of got your vision downfield, and you drop your eyes for that moment. But the footwork is totally different. They're quarterbacks, and they're great athletes who can't drop back properly with the ball being held in a position to get a quick release. Mm-hmm. A lot of those passes are not thrown with a pure 5-step or 7-step drop, set your feet, bounce, and now throw. It doesn't work that way in the pros. And I think a lot of these guys struggle coming out from under center and being able to release the ball when it has to be done at a time they're not expecting to have to do it. And they said they really have a lot of them have no idea how to read some of the things that are coming when they're protected and not protected. Mm-hmm. Because some of your fast-paced teams, they will use unsound protections and know that they're not protected, but the speed of the pace of the play, the operation, they just feel like they're going to get enough good plays that they'll take that one unsuccessful play. the quarterbacks and the pros get paid $10 million, and they ain't gonna let them get hit.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in college, hell, they run around when you get pressure on them. They run around and throw the ball downfield.
Hey, listen, we got to let you go. We appreciate it as always. We look forward to maybe talking to you quite a bit during the football season. You've always got a spot here with us on Sports Talk, and when you're on Teddy's show now, you better call him Phil when you go on there just to even it out.
You two are out the golf course. That's what got me.
That's where they
I
live.
saw you guys are out on the golf course, and his name popped out of my mouth. So
I
y'all
understand.
off the golf course.
I understand. Listen, it was great seeing you, and thanks for being with us, and we'll be back in touch with you and look forward to talking to you throughout the football season. That's Ellis Johnson, and you'll be hearing more from him here and other places as well. We'll be back. And thanks again to Ellis Johnson for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk. Now to the recruiting report for tonight. So we'll take more of your calls in the next hour. Tied in, Nasir Upshur of Philadelphia. More than 40 offers now for the spring. At this point, 13 schools stand out. And one of those is USC. He's long been a target of Gamecock recruiter G.A. Mangus. He visited USC twice last year, once in the summer and for the Georgia game in the fall. He also likes Arizona State, Southern Cal, Temple, Miami, Alabama, Penn State, Maryland, Florida State, Michigan, Michigan State, Rutgers, and Wisconsin. Recruiters are coming through the school. He says he's real high on South Carolina. He's close friends with David Williams. He wants to get down for a visit with his parents. It's important his mom gets to visit the school. He's not planning a decision until signing day next February. He wants to take his 5 officials. He's to visit Arizona State the third weekend in September. No clear favorite has emerged. But USC, Southern Cal, Arizona State, Temple, Maryland, Alabama, Miami, of the 13 are the ones he's strongest on right now. Defensive lineman Naquan Jones, Evanston, Illinois, will announce on June the 5th. And today he revealed his final schools: USC, Michigan State, Ohio State, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Penn State. As I mentioned earlier, defensive lineman USC 2014 signee Dante Sawyer told the Atlanta Journal he has successfully completed his 2-year stay at East Mississippi Junior College. He's all cleared academically to enroll at USC later on this month. USC commitment receiver Kyle Davis, Decatur, Georgia, was offered by Ohio State. Offensive lineman Jack DeFore of Calhoun, Georgia, offered by Tennessee. He's a Clemson target. Defensive back Nick McLeod of South Point, offered by South Carolina State. USC offered 2017 offensive lineman Isaiah Wilson of Brooklyn. Clemson offered 2017 defensive end Ryan Johnson of Mobile, Alabama. Basketball, 6'4" combo guard Marquise Reed of Landover, Maryland, is at Clemson today for his official visit through Thursday. His mother and grandfather are with him. He's a transfer from Robert Morris as a freshman against Clemson on December 30th at Littlejohn. Off the bench, he scored 21 points before fouling out. Went on to average 15 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists per game. Clemson has a real good shot to land him. He's also been to Southern, UMass, and Tulsa. Plans to have a decision on Monday. 6'6" Tevin McAdreer will take an unofficial to Texas this weekend. His mother said this afternoon he will travel alone. Plans to make his decision next week. He went to Georgia last Sunday. Clemson, Kansas, UCLA, West Virginia, North Carolina, the others he's been hearing from. His mom said they've not heard from USC in a couple of weeks, but she wants to be clear that they never dropped the Gamecocks from consideration. They have just apparently moved on. And 6'2" guard Brevin Galloway of TL Hanna committed to the College of Charleston for the 2016 class. Top of the hour break, and we'll be back.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And we're back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from downtown Columbia, Main Streets. Sports Talk, your Sports Talk show of Main Streets, South Carolina. Good to have you with us here on the program. Back to your calls in a moment from Chad Holbrook. Well, not in a moment. A little bit later on, we'll hear from Chad Holbrook and Jack Leggett. But right now, we've got time to take your calls. A lot of stuff to discuss. Ellis Johnson, you heard what he had to say a little while ago. You can chime in on that. Everett Golson and his transfer, or anything else you want to talk about, the baseball programs, etc. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. We go to Dave in Charleston, listening to us on our affiliate ESPN Radio 910. Hey, Dave, how are you?
How you doing, guys?
Good.
It was nice to hear you on the radio. And I have to disagree with one of your cohorts there. You said average winning season of the Gamecocks was 6 games. I mean, for the past 5 or 6 years, even after Lou Holtz, we've been 7, 8, 9. We've been in the top 5, 7 teams in the country. Maybe Lou Holtz passed or Brad Scott. I would say I'd be happy just to be bowl eligible. But them years is gone, and the good things are coming. And if you think about it, I'm optimistic about this season. You can't go wrong when you have a first name of Connor. If you think about it, Connor Shaw was successful, and we got to almost an SEC title. So let's be optimistic about the season because we have Connor Mitch. That's another Connor, and Steve Spurrier calling the plays. You don't know how far this can go, guys.
Well, I hear what you're saying. It's not all that simple. If that were the case, they'd have 11 guys named Connor.
Just find a Connor.
Starting
I know.
for them.
Yeah.
But I hear what you're saying.
You can't go wrong with the quarterback.
And there's nothing wrong with being optimistic. You know, I think this South Carolina team is going to be overlooked in the preseason. I think most are going to have them well down in the SEC. When you break down to 14, I think they'll be, 10, 11, somewhere down there. No more of this talk of South Carolina winning the SEC East and all that kind of stuff, which, you know what? Sometimes it's good to fly under the radar.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right.
Mm-hmm. And overachieve, overachieve in the eyes of everybody else. Maybe not in your eyes within the program. You're not overachieving. You're playing exactly how they thought you would, but overachieve in the eyes of the media and everybody else, because that's what South Carolina will have to do. If they win, this will be one of those years where if they win 9 or more games, Steve Spurrier will be your SEC Coach of the Year, because they're going to be picked so low.
And the interesting thing is how people take things and when things happen. When you look at the season that South Carolina had, if somebody would have just not given you the record and they just handed you the defensive statistics, you would say this team didn't win a game.
Yeah.
How could they? For them to win 7-6 was miraculous. But that's not how fans see it.
Well, no, because when you think about it, they left 4 potential wins on the field. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have been a lot better.
They pulled a couple out, too. The Georgia and the Florida games that they could have gone the other way.
More calls coming up. And we're back. 800-956-7266 is our phone number here on Sports Talk. Back to your calls in just a moment. Let me update a couple of quick things. The NCAA women's golf tournaments, the regionals, began today. South Carolina is playing in the Raleigh regional, and South Carolina out and shoots a 7 over par score, good enough for 6th place, behind LSU, which is at even par. So there's 6 shots back. LSU, then NC State, then Ohio State, Campbell, and then Alabama. And Coastal Carolina tied for 12th at 15 over par. The College of Charleston is 15th at 16 over par. Individually for South Carolina today, the best score was turned in by Justine Dreer. She shoots a 71, which is 1 under par. The Players' Championship down at Ponte Vedra. We have a 3-way tie for the lead. Hideki Matsuyama, David Hearn, and Charlie Hoffman share the lead at 5 under par. They are 1 clear of a large group at 4 under par that includes Clemson's Ben Martin. So another very good start for him. Some of the other prominent names that we follow on the PGA Tour: Webb Simpson, 3 under 69. Same for Ricky Fowler and Rory McIlroy and Ricky Barnes. Russell Henley, a 2 under 70. Bubba Watson, a 1 under 71. Scott Brown, a 72, along with Dustin Johnson. Ernie Els, a 73, along with Boo Weekley and Matt Kuchar and Kevin Kisner. Phil Mickelson, also at 1 over 73, along with Tiger Woods. Jordan Spieth, he's done 3 over 75, along with Bill McGirt. And let's see, what else did I want to mention to you here very quickly. Well, a couple of other things. Oh, one note here, Florida basketball. Louisiana Tech's Michael White is now considered the front runner to be the next basketball coach at Florida. CBSSports.com confirming that. A Yahoo Sports report was out on that earlier. And he's 38 years old. He's the son of the Duke athletic director, Kevin White, 101-40 in 4 seasons at Tech, but he's not made the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm. He's in Conference USA. Yeah, he played with that Ole Miss team, Keith Carter and Ansu Cisse went to the tournament.
How can we forget? How can we forget? Back to the phones, 800-956-7266. And we head down to Charleston, listening to us on his favorite radio station, ESPN 910, as we welcome into the program the de facto mayor of the city of Charleston, the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the Cowboys.
Crybabies.
I forgot. The queen of the Cowboy Crybabies. Hey, I'm Mike Ellis Johnson, man. I'm having a moment. The queen of the Cowboy Crybabies, who will sign anybody, regardless of the charges against you. And
there's no charges against the guy.
And most recently named the new conductor of the South Carolina Spoleto Orchestra, coming up on a street in Charleston this spring and summer. It is not Jim Rome. He's busy on Showtime making millions of dollars with a crummy TV show. It's J-Rome. Ever seen that Jim Rome show on TV? It's terrible.
Love away from me. Don't take your love. That was for Tiger.
I know. Don't you feel terrible for him, Jerome? Seriously.
It's making up again.
I mean, how many times have you been married, Jerome?
How many can I remember?
Oh, okay.
Or how many have I?
How many are you still paying for? How many are you still paying for?
None.
None. Okay.
Tiger Woods, who used to just crush people mentally, and now he's not sleeping. He's distraught. Just got dumped.
I feel terrible for the guy. I really
One over on his round today.
All right, what you got for us, J-Rome? I know you got something good for us.
Hey, Tom Brady doesn't have cohorts. He has co-conspirators, okay? Roger Goodell, you better crush him, okay? You better crush him like you crush a bug. Because the minute he stood at that podium, and that guy asked him, hey, Tom, are you a cheater? And his, oh, child, please look on his face. Oh, I could punch him right in his mouth for lying like that.
That you like that beanie he was wearing during that press
There's
conference.
no rule in the NFL about lying. Okay, I mean you can't be penalized for lying. However, there was a report. There was a report this afternoon. I don't know how reliable it is that they're going to suspend him for a year. Did you see that report?
Yes,
we'll wait and see on that one.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Yeah, that would be intense.
That would be.
I would have the Graffalo warming up that arm though, just in case.
Can you imagine the reaction out of the entire
defending Super Bowl
region
champ
of New England if that were to happen? Oh my goodness, my God! I'm sorry, Jerome. Go ahead.
You know what, Phil? My heart bleeds when they talk about. But you know what? It would just serve him just right for doing this. I mean, hey, you're the most storied franchise in modern day football. You got to break with the tuck rule, okay? Oh, that's not a problem. Why don't you ask Charles Woodson what he thinks of that rule? Huh? Ask him. And now you got spying on people. That's not enough. Now you got your little lapdogs. You got Carl Yastrzemski's illegitimate nephew or whatever he is doing this sneaky stuff. Who, me? Child, please, I would never cheat. Not Tom Brady, not the great Tom Brady. Oh, no.
But what
punch him right
Tom Brady always has kind of gotten a pass on everything.
What
he has a few baby mamas out there. No one seems to care.
He's not Mr. Clean Gene.
No, I mean, and even on the field, people like, the players are like, this guy talks more than anybody in the league.
But seriously, outside of Derek Jeter, who's played professional sports the last 50 years and been a clean Gene like Derek Jeter?
It is true. I mean, you think about, we just talked about Tiger Woods and how far he's fallen. In Mayweather, the greatest boxer right now, he's still dealing with the,
he's having surgery. He's having surgery.
No, you're talking Pacquiao. I'm talking about
Pacquiao.
Yeah, Mayweather though, he's got tons of baggage.
Oh yeah.
I think all of them have baggage. Jeter's just good at covering his. Here's the key point.
Now you make a statement like that, you back it up. What has Derek Jeter ever
done?
No,
I said he's covered it up. How
desecrated his God, Crow. Don't do that. Don't do that to Corn. You say
no evidence.
You bow down.
The guy.
You make the sign of the cross.
Miss Universe.
And you apologize.
All right. He dated Miss Universe. He did it with
he
did it with honor. And he did it with
right.
discreetly,
Jerome, allow me to be biblical here. You're born a sinner. Now they'll take care of that. What Jerome is describing is New England Patriots be good at NASCAR.
Yeah, I would say so.
Don't let me get started on that Tony Stewart. I didn't see him. Oh, and that Brett McHenry, that was LeBron James talking down someone like that. ESPN would have crushed him. But little Brett McHenry, not I want to talk about her. No, let's not talk about little Brett McHenry. Look, listen here, honey. I'm on TV. Now where's my card?
Hey, listen, Jerome, you can go a long way in this world if you have blonde hair and long legs. You know that, don't you?
I wouldn't know, Phil. I wasn't born like that. Sorry.
You don't have long legs and blonde hair?
I'm on TV, honey. All right? Just watch me. I'm on TV.
Thank you, Jerome. Oh, boy. He had a lot to get off his chest. He had a lot to get off. That had been building with him, I think, for some time. But there's a lot out there to discuss, sports fans. The Brady thing here, I don't know. This thing could I was really surprised when I saw that report that there's talk of him getting a year suspension.
I can't see that.
I mean, I can't either, but the fact that it's even out there and being talked about.
And they can't really pinpoint him exactly being involved in it.
There's some text messages that certainly incriminate him.
And I tell you what, I agree with Brady. I wouldn't, depending on how much I use it, I wouldn't have give up my cell phone either. I think he was right in doing that. He said, no, I'm not giving you my cell phone.
As if he can't afford 500 others. We'll be right back. right, we continue with your phone calls here on this Thursday edition of Sports Talk from downtown Columbia. 800-956-7266 is the number. We go to Andy in Columbia listening to us on the points. Good to have you with us, Andy. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good there, Mr. Korn. I'm just now watching A-Rod just got robbed of a homer.
But you know what? Before we get to that,
yeah, I know we're finally.
Before we get to that, I think there's some money going to be changing hands during this conversation, is there not?
You're even. You don't know what double or nothing means?
I think I should get some coin tossed my way.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's bet on something else. What else would you like to lose to me in?
What else would you like Kornblut to never pay up on when you win?
I'll take Mayweather over Pacquiao. How about you?
He still owes me from the 2010 NBA Finals.
Wow. He owes everybody for years and years and years. So the only time I think he ever paid me was when I won some. It wasn't him paying it. It was one of his sponsors that sent me the $100 in the mail.
You actually got $100 from us.
When you and Teddy were at Ford.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Pick.
Yeah.
I was living down in Charleston, and I hit you up for $100, but it took forever to get it. But I got it.
It's got to go through procedures. Got to go through procedures. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What else is on your mind? Yeah.
The thing you said about Tevin Mack.
Yes.
I was listening today to another radio station in town that does sports, and I don't know if I should tell you who actually said it, but it's someone in town who knows basketball frontwards and backwards, sideways, and we should say the mayor, if that helps you any.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about Tevin Mack and why USC wasn't involved anymore. Supposedly the coaches had called his mother numerous times, talked to her, but never got any calls back from Tevin. So, we're hearing different, things going back and forth here.
No, I think that may be correct. I know that she talked to USC assistant coach, one of them, on several occasions, and she talked to Frank Martin as well. And they saw Frank Martin in person a couple of weeks ago on a Sunday at a banquet, an awards banquet in Columbia, and exchanged hellos and that sort of thing. Not a deep conversation, but I think that when all is said and done, and he talks about it, I just think the fit for him at South Carolina was not going to be comfortable.
I'm talking more about what you said, that his mother said that they pretty much quit calling.
Well, yeah, in the last couple,
that they quit calling because they never responded to the calls, or Tevin never responded to the calls. It was just going, as you said, his mother's handling all the calls, and they didn't get anything back from Tevin.
Well, some are talking, coaches are talking to Tevin, but I mean,
after he calls them back.
Well, possibly so. It doesn't really matter where.
But you know what? It really doesn't matter. I just hope he goes to a good school and he does what he wants.
Well, let me finish here. I mean, yeah. I mean, they talked to the mom, and she would, I'm sure, tell him that South Carolina was calling. But if he's not interested in returning the calls, then there's no reason for South Carolina to continue to pursue it either. So I think they probably saw the handwriting on the wall. All right, we're back. Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Check out some of your tweets as well coming up on our look at Twitter, our Twitter timeline at SportsTalk SC. If you haven't signed up to be part of our ever-growing Twitter family, why not take a moment and do so? What are you chuckling about?
I'm on Twitter now, just kind of going through the timeline, and apparently Marcus Lattimore is speaking somewhere. And a quote from Marcus Lattimore: "Adversity is everywhere. Being a Clemson fan, now that's adversity."
Ooh,
Marcus, he's so beloved by South Carolina and Clemson fans alike, but that might peel off a few of the orange-clad Lattimore fans there.
Mm-hmm. We'll give you more.
Probably a Gamecock group.
We'll give you more from Twitter coming up in just a little bit. Baseball-wise, off day for USC and Clemson. Travel day for the Gamecocks. They were delayed getting out of Columbia. Their charter flight to Texas A&M was supposed to leave earlier today. Didn't get out until around 4 o'clock. At least that's what they were delayed
I would have bust them there. You guys are playing bad. You're going to get a bus trip to College Station.
They really would.
I would have gone Eric Hyman on them.
What is it?
Ironically enough,
the rough weather in the Midwest is
probably
affecting them.
I don't know. I don't know what the reason was. I just know they were delayed. Anyway, last night the Gamecocks got a win over a good Wofford team, 5-3. Got some runs early, made it stand up the rest of the night. The pitching was pretty good. And so they go to Texas A&M to face one of the best teams in the country with a little bit of momentum, and they can build on that with Wynkoop going out there on Friday evening to see if he can give them another outstanding start. Here are some comments from Chad Holbrook following last night's win over Wofford, looking ahead to Texas A&M, and also taking some questions about his team and personnel.
One of the best teams in the country, maybe outside of LSU, maybe the most consistent baseball team in the country all year, and they're playing at home, which they're lethal at home. We're going to have to play our best baseball of the year, and that doesn't guarantee us that we're going to win, even if we do that. So, obviously, we're playing a special team, very physical, big and strong, and had a great year, very offensive. They've pitched it very well. I don't know if they have a weakness. So, we're going to have to play our best baseball of the year to be competitive and have a chance. And that's just the truth of the matter.
What led you to leave Max out of the lineup?
He's hurt. He can't swing the bat. I don't know if he'll be able to play this weekend. So he's got a pretty significant hand injury, and he's getting as much therapy as he can. And, and we'll put a cast on him, or he's got one on him, and we'll see if it will calm down and he can tolerate and play this weekend, but there's no guarantee.
So it's the hamate, not the Achilles, so now that's bothering him?
He could play with the Achilles, and I don't know if you classify the injury as a hamate. I don't, because the MRI was clean, but it's it's either, I think they diagnosed it as a pretty severe wrist sprain, but it's also has some symptoms of a sore hamate. But so it's been a tough one to diagnose, other than he's in pretty tough pain. He's in pretty bad pain. His bottom hand, so his right hand.
You remarked about the being not too happy about the plate approach tonight with the 8 strikeouts and the 2 walks. I think 7 or 9 starters tonight had batting average of 258 or lower. You're now going up against, I think, the team with the #1 ERA in the SEC. As a coach, what can you and Coach Bush and the other coaches do in the next 48 hours or less to get these guys ready, prepared to hit against perhaps the best pitching staff in the league? Well, we faced, Texas A&M is very, very good, and their pitching numbers are great. We're not going to. Their arms are comparable to Vanderbilt's, so it's not like we're facing. We've seen arms like this and competed against arms like this and had some success against arms that we're going to see. So we're just going to have great concentration and competitiveness and toughness, and we're going to have to get our bunts down, and we're going to get a couple bloops to fall in. I mean, we're going to have to be lucky from time to time. The ball's going to have to bounce our way. I don't think we're going to go up there and just bang the ball around against them and outslug them. Because, obviously they're very formidable offensively too. So I always hope we can keep the game in check and and find a way to score 4 or 5 and hope it's enough. I mean, there's no perfect magic formula to beat Texas A&M. Obviously, a lot of people have tried this year and hadn't had much success. So we're just going to go down there and try to compete each and every pitch and see if we can keep it close and have a chance to win late in the game. I don't know what else we can do. But I'll have Max in there, and hopefully he'll feel better, and Destino swinging the bat a little bit better, and maybe Kmart and Elliott will have great weekends, and we'll be able to put some runs up on the board. That's the hope.
Coach, you mentioned kind of in your opening statement that you wish this team had a little bit more juice to them at times. I mean, it seems to be a theme throughout the year. Why do you think there's moments throughout the game where they just lack that energy you'd like to see them have?
I can't change their personality. The kids have a personality, and that's like trying to change the stripes on a zebra. You just, it's not you. I have good kids in there. They're great kids. I have no problem with the character of my team. I just wish their motor was more like my motor, and some of them are, but we need all of them to be. And I just want them to all just like each and every pitch is the most important pitch in their life, and I can't get that through to them. But they're trying, and they're listening to me. They're probably tired of me yapping at them. But I have good kids. They're trying the best. They're doing the best that they can, and they just it's difficult for me to change their personality, and because believe me, there's several of them I've tried to, but that doesn't make them a bad kid. I mean, I love each and every one of them. It doesn't make them a bad kid. They just don't play with. Sometimes they just don't play with the excitement. It's an honor to play out there. It's they don't understand at their age the opportunity sometimes that they have, and I just want them to relish it. That's all.
You talked about Connor earlier. Why do you think he struggled so much his senior year, especially after being so good last year when he was healthy?
The kid's hit 300, I guess. He's been a pretty consistent player for us up until this year, and I think he put a lot of pressure on himself, and he got off to a slow start, and it kind of snowballed on him. It was good to see him hit 2 balls on the screws tonight. He got a hit there, and then he all just missed a home run. Connor's, he played in some big games for us, and he's gotten some big hits for us. And, I know, I don't know. I like his experience, and I'm going to keep giving him some cracks. And if people out there say, that Coach Holbrook is too loyal to his seniors, that won't be the worst thing they ever say about me. So I'm actually proud of. And I think Connor's he's worked very, very hard the last couple of weeks, and he's trying like crazy to hopefully it'll click before the season's out. And I have a feeling he's got some big hits in him before the season's over.
All right, Chad Holbrook, some interesting remarks from him following last night's win over Wofford. The Gamecocks go to Texas A&M, take on one of the best teams in the country beginning tomorrow night at Texas A&M, 7:35 Eastern on Saturday, 3:05, and on Sunday at 2:05 they play at Olson Field at Blue Bell Park. Texas A&M 41-7, 16-7 in the SEC. They have a terrific home record as well. And tomorrow night it'll be Jack Wynkoop, left-hander, against Grayson Long, who is 8-0. He's a right-hander, 2.93 ERA. USC has not announced his 2 starters. On Saturday, Ryan Hendricks, a sophomore righty, will go for A&M. He's 4-1 with a 2.61 ERA. Some Jack Leggett comments coming up.
Played good tonight. We had a complete game. You know, I thought.
Now, just take a little bit more of a look at Texas A&M. Man, they have got some guys that can hit the baseball. They've got 6 batters hitting over 300. Nick Banks leads the way with a 381 average. They've hit 48 home runs on the season. They play good defense. And, of course, they pitch it well with a team ERA of 2.5. Gamecocks will have their hands full with this bunch of Aggies. They are 29-4 at home, 38-7 overall.
Didn't they win their first 22 this year?
Yeah,
I think so.
South Carolina's never lost to Texas A&M in baseball.
That'll change this weekend.
Swept them last year, I believe, and then beat them once before. Yeah, they're 4-0. They beat them in Columbia last year, 6-3, 6-4, 3-2. And then they played them in Omaha in 2011 and won 5-4. Oh, the glorious days of Omaha. Will they ever return? Clemson taking a break from ACC play. They will take on Georgia Southern over the weekend. Final home games of the season. Coming off a win last night, a good win over the College of Charleston, a very good College of Charleston team. Clemson got the victory last night. Put a smile on the face of Jack Leggett.
Played good tonight. We had a complete game. You know, I thought we pitched really well. Clayton went out there and gave us 5 good innings, and Alex Boston came in there with bases loaded, nobody out. It was a tremendous job getting out of that. It was a huge part of the game. And then he gave us some good innings after that. And Foley and Gutzel did a special nice job at the very end. And Boston, I think, was the story of the night, coming in with giving us a couple innings that he hasn't really given us all year long. He's been more of a specialty guy, so that was big. Played good defense. And really, I thought we played really well offensively, which we've been doing a pretty good job of the last few weeks. You know, we built one in the third, one in the fourth, 3 in the fifth. Jolly came off the bench today as a case, did a nice job for us. And we got some big hits. Ran the bases well. It was a complete game for us.
You guys have had a lot of opportunities against ranked teams this year. This is 240 wins for you now with the ranked team. Mean anything to you there?
That's nice. You only feel as good as your last one. But, they're a good ball club. They've been playing exceptionally well all year long. And 35-9 or 10. We expected a tough ball game. And they gave it to us. And on edge the whole time. It's never going to be easy. It hasn't been easy for us yet, so we don't expect anything else. But it's nice to get another win against a good team, and hopefully we can carry that on into the weekend.
Yeah, you got feeling really good though, in the sense the way the first couple of days went here this week. To see your pitching just kind of come up and step up for you tonight.
Yeah, we did some really good things in the Louisville series. Played really well, I think, all weekend. I think we've been playing well for the last 3 weeks, and so we're starting to feel a little bit better, a lot more confident. Getting more guys in the order. Slayton's starting to come along for us and doing some good things. The other guys are playing well offensively, so I feel confident about how we're going on offense, and we got some good relief pitching tonight, which has been a little bit of a sticky spot for us. And our starting pitching has been, other than last night, has been pretty good.
Does Clayton start to a look as you start to craft your ACC rotation?
I think, probably this weekend, I think we're thinking Jake Long, because Jake's been pitching pretty good for us. But got to give him a look, and we got another big game the next Tuesday, a midweek game. They're all important, so he'll get some more innings for us. I kind of think he's better in the role he was tonight, starting, rather than coming in with men on base and that kind of thing, because things can happen fast. But if you're starting, you can kind of get a feel if he's getting in a rhythm and getting in a good spot.
What can a win like tonight do for momentum, Jack?
Well, I hope it carries into 2 games, and that one carries into 3 games, and that one carries into 4. We've been asked that question a lot. We've had trouble to get that momentum to where we want to go, but the biggest thing is I like the way we're playing. I think we're playing a lot more. Other than last night, it was kind of a aberration of things, but and they played well. But I think overall, in the last 3 or 4 weeks here, we've been playing a lot better. Last night was not excuses at all, but it's always tough. I'm playing on a Monday for us, and it's the only day we could schedule. And in hindsight, we probably could have done. We couldn't do anything. We had to take a chance. We did a chance, and they outplayed us.
Paid a bit.
All right, Jack Leggett of the Tigers following the win last night over the College of Knowledge. And the Tigers take on Georgia Southern this weekend for 3 at the Doug Kingsmore Stadium. As we mentioned, it'll be the last home games of the season. The Tigers 25-24, Georgia Southern 27-21. One note from Clemson is that Pender, who's been a DH and their starting second baseman at times this season, has a shoulder injury, and according to Tiger Insider, may be done for the season. So that would be a little bit of a blow for the Tigers having to lose another regular from their lineup. We'll be right back. All right. Apparently, South Carolina made it safely out to College Station. Seeing a tweet here by somebody out there who said the whole South Carolina baseball team just walked deep into Jamba Juice. Must be some kind of a store out there.
Yeah, that's a store, Corn.
Well, what is Jamba Juice, K-Mac? Since you seem to know a little bit about everything, what is Jamba Juice?
It's the same.
I'm sorry, Jamba Juice.
Do you know what TCBY is or McDonald's? Do you want me to explain every franchise?
Could be Jammy Juice in your jammies. They go in their jammies to Jammy Juice.
Oh, boy.
K-Mac, what else is going on our Twitter timeline?
A lot of people talking about the Ellis Johnson interview. And some people pretty impressed with Ellis Johnson being unemployed and still managing to get paid by Southern Miss, Auburn, and the state of South Carolina. So he is living right.
Hey, if you can make it happen, go for it.
Then there was, of course, your typical Twitter snark. Ellis Johnson excels at failure for sure. Listening to his interview, he's clearly lost a step, so not surprised he's retired.
No, he hasn't lost a step.
Yeah, he'll be.
And that failure, I mean, he failed as a head coach 1 year at Southern Miss. Now, and people can draw conclusions about him as a head coach from that, but there were mitigating circumstances.
Right. Lou Holtz failed his first year at South Carolina. Would South Carolina say he was a failure?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, Ellis did a nice job as a head coach at the Citadel, but he wanted to be back in the big time. And everywhere he's been as a defensive coordinator, that defense has gotten better from when he inherited it until he left. What else you got?
Marcus Lattimore mentioned that tweet and retweeted it, and now you've got Clemson fans tweeting the record, the all-time series record, 66-42-4. By the way, I should point out Marcus Lattimore, his next comment, I just saw this in another tweet, was, "I'm just kidding. You Clemson fans know I love you. I love Clemson."
No, we missed that in translation.
Oh, yeah, but they say,
well, we're not there.
Now, don't take it back. We know what you really mean.
Yeah, and somebody said pot meat kettle. Lattimore never really got an opportunity to face Clemson except one time. He played him one time. Didn't do a lot. That was Stephen Garcia's big game.
They totally took him out the game, and that's what Alshon Jeffries was wide open.
Alshon Jeffrey and Stephen Garcia had the big night there, and then the next 2 years he was hurt by the time the Clemson game rolled around.
Well, I'm going to go find me some Jamba Juice.
I don't think there are any in Columbia.
Put my jammies on. And Jamba
But you can go out to College Station and
Stateman acts like he knows what it is. Like he's a man of the world.
Never been there. I have no idea.
Mr. World
Never been to one, but I'm aware of what they are.
Mr. World Champion paintballer over there. All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah. How's the knee, Steakman?
Hey, we got
fine, thank you.
Golf game.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Not really.
Louisiana Tech hires Michael White.
Yeah, Michael White. That's official now. A guy that's never been to the NCAA tournament going to Florida. Hey, thanks for being with us. We've enjoyed it. We will see you tomorrow night here on Sports Talk.